Hi, Ansar. This is Nitesh here. Just wanted to have a video about your existing project feedback and also what are my new requirements as part of that. So, to start with, this input sheet, which is recently done by you, uh, pretty straightforward, nothing major. It's just that I don't like these things, so I'll probably hide it or do something about it. So this is fine. I think integrations have all gone fine because I've tested it with a couple of case studies, and yeah, it looks that numbers are still working. Now, the one of the few of the concerns that I have is again aesthetically, these lines and everything is not looking good, but that has nothing to do with generally what we are after. Sorry, there's a background noise of my kids who will usually keep bothering me. Now, also, if I look at my PCQ sheet, unhide, PCQ, yep, that's it. Okay, all right, all good. Now here, what I wanted is, like we have a button here, update Bankwest and update CBA. I was also keen to have a button in which, so what happens right now is very simple. When we put all the debts here, so let's say we put a debt amount of, let's say here we put a car loan of $10,000, let's say, and then we put a personal loan of, let's say, $5,000, and this guy is paying $200 a week there and $100 a week here. So what we do is, what we usually do is we'll say $15,000 debts. He currently paid $300 a week. After refinancing, which is at 14% and 7 years term, the new debt will be only $65 per week. So he can save $235. And this new number is what goes in the system, or goes in this Bankwest calculator and CBA calculator and all of it. What I want to do is I want to have some sort of mechanism where there is a button here, or whichever way we can, and then this number here, and in Bankwest, which is probably probably here, yep, so this number here. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a button or something which says refinance now. So this amount should be exactly like this much to begin with. Only once I press that button, then this amount shows up. Now the reason why I want to do it, and I will explain you why, because when I'm showing people their borrowing capacity, that's what they think, that's my borrowing capacity right now. They don't appreciate the fact that to get that borrowing capacity, we've actually refinanced their debts. So what I want to do is I wanted to make sure that they should know. So let's take an example. If this is 300, then their borrowing capacity will be worst off. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure that they can see that amount, and somehow once we press a button or we do something, or I don't know how we will do it, so it's probably something which you will have to do it yourself, is when we say refinance, then these numbers should come up. It can be somewhere here, refinance, something like that. So we press refinance, and then these numbers changes to this number. So this is what I wanted to add a functionality on this, which will actually help me get this project done. So this is the only additional upgrade that I wanted to do on this particular map. Now also few more fields that I wanted to add is, if we are looking at Keystart Bank, now this is very simple. This is basically this minus 200 and this minus that formula, which is basically taken from Keystart, from bank this. I wanted to have two more fields to have CBA and Westpac. So instead of just bank here, it should say Bankwest, then here it is CBA, and here it is Westpac. So just 3 more lines, and then we can say, okay, what is the land budget for CBA, what is the land budget for West Bank, and what is the land budget for that. Also, so that is something I wanted to do. I also wanted to add one more field by saying, you know, or leave that's fine, we will discard that portion, but that's all I wanted at this stage. So if we can work on that, that will be really awesome. And yeah, and that's one of the objective of the project's done. Now also what I want to do is I wanted to essentially work on 2 sheets. So this is so I wanted to work on 2 sheets. Just give me a second. So yeah, so I wanted to actually work on a few aspects. Yep, sorry, recording again. Is I have 2 people who work for me. So one is called Eric, another is called Adrian. So what I wanted was, I wanted a package model which is similar to what we have here, PCQ and package and building journey. So I wanted to actually add this model, so add this sheet. So I've tried to do it myself, but again, new upgrades and updates has to happen. So which is basically this one. So that is, just a second when it opens up. So okay, so this is the sheet. This is a shorter version of our sheet where we do package model, which is basically a little different than input sheet. This is for one of the person who actually works for me, and he basically does all his calculations on this. Here there's no borrowing capacity calculation, there's nothing of that sort. It's basically just client's information and client's detail. So that's what we capture here. All these fields are there, and then it goes to package model. Now in this package model, this is similar to my package model, right? So this is similar to my package model, but what we need here is a small extra field of rent removal promo, and this has build rent free promo or something like that. And then there comes the PCQ. So this is a PCQ that I use for this particular guy. So what I wanted is I wanted it to be changed. First thing is, instead of saying Nitesh Jha, it should say here Eric Nguyen. sorry and a phone number here, yeah, can be manually fed. So that's what would be good. Now in the package model, for whatever reason he can't see pictures in iPhone, or in Apple computer. So we want to make sure that it can be, just a second, my kids are playing around. So just want to make sure that it can be seen for even Apple user, but if it is not, then fair enough, don't care too much about it, but if we can, that will be good. Also, second thing is, in here PCQ1, I want it to changed to a new PCQ. Now I'll send you the new PCQ as well. The new PCQ is pretty similar to what this is right now, but it has some extra fields and extra, these terms and conditions are different, and even this is somewhat different, and these are all a little bit different, but then you can still put the same field and everything. Now what I wanted was in my PCQ model as well as here is some more fields, because now we have to add few more designs. So we want to make sure that new designs are be there. So what I want you to do is, I can put the design as and when it comes and goes, but what I want is, I want to make sure that right now if I go to hidden file, sorry, unhide, and let's say if I go to pictures of design, so there's a choose design and there's establish. Instead of this, I want lot many fields in this. So if we can add lot many fields on this so that I can add more, because if I add few more here in the bottom, it doesn't add up in the end, like it doesn't put it here. So I need to be added more, so just put choose design, custom design, and when we choose design and custom design. So when, let's say if I go back to my package model and I go custom design, then a new field should pop up here. What is the price of that house? So I can put a price of that house, and then that will reflect a new custom design price, because sometimes we have to sell a house which is not in the price list, which is not as per the price list as well. So it's absolutely different than what we know of. So sometimes I have to fill in a manual price list. So just have to say custom design, price of that, and I'll put a price, and all these numbers will go in here for the prices. So that is this change that I want in this file, and that can be reflected here. Now this particular sheet, Eric Newman and few basic bits and pieces, I can work on that. You probably don't need to work too much onto that. I do have a small requirement. I don't know how feasible it is or how possible it is I wanted to have this variation list to come here. So new variation list to come here, and it should say variation to be added, and a small table here. And in that table, what I wanted was, so let me just open that. I wanted these fields to be added: double glazed window, standard range carpet, Acetone, this, all of this field. So sorry, this is Bolton price, Manhattan range, sorry, so leave that. So this is here, yeah, so something like this. So it has to have these fields, key start pack, Daikin Acon, double glaze, this, all these fields. So all these fields has to be somewhat somewhat here somewhere, saying that do you want to add that extra. So variation here, similar to that, all that field will come in, and I will tick. But the difference is all these fields on every base model has a different price. So let's say if we go with pure, Divine Pure, key start pack is this much, whereas if I go with Jordan Pure, the key start pack is this much, whereas this key start pack is no cost for Prime because it is already included in that. Whereas double glaze window, every design has a different price. Now I do know there's a huge confusion there, because there's no 10 meter 12 meter here written. So we'll probably have to make this price list to change, but we do want to bring in this in that place. And let's say Acetone top to kitchen, and roller blinds and all of that. So we wanted this to be there somehow. That we probably it's a lengthy process, because you'll have to know, okay, Divine Pure, where is there a design there, buying Divine Pure and whatnot, and work on that. So that is something which I wanted to do as well. So I'll send you this sheet as well, just in case, and we can see if we can do that. So this is the major requirement number 3 that we will have to do it. Now comes so these are 3 basic requirements for this particular phase. Now let's look at what other things. So to recap, we want first is that refinancing to be a subjective button. Second requirement, or second major requirement, is to basically add more lines on this design, so we can put a new design. One of the major requirements is again to put a variation list, so we can put a variation list, and yeah, I think that's about it. That's what we can actually look at. Yeah, these are three, if not more, three major requirements. Now let's look at if I do need something else. So I do need some more thing to be done, but this is just a preliminary thing. And let's close this. Don't save. Yeah. Don't save. Okay. The third or the last requirement about this particular sheet, or at least at this stage, is something like this. Yeah, Adrian. So Adrian, this is a qualifying sheet. Now, if you open this, I want this guy. This is a different guy. Again, this is a scaled down version of my input sheet, and I would like you to make it from my input sheet something similar to that. So comment. He can put some comments. He can put the same thing, situations, surname, first name, that's it. So he doesn't need to put too many details if it's couple, two people. So unlike mine where there's a driver's license and all of that detail required, now it's basically simplified. Just last name, first name, employment status, single job, double job, family tax A and B will come from exactly the way that was, and then all the debts here and all of this here. Now in this case, for whatever reason, BankQuest calculator is not working. So if you can make that to work and pretty much refinance, and in this one the refinancing doesn't have to work, like this can be exactly the same version. But the problem with this guy is he keeps filling it up, and because it doesn't auto save, he keeps forgetting to save. So what I want you to do is, if you can work on this sheet and fix that, basically do the new BankQuest Commonwealth CBA calculation. So we'll take the new sheet, the new input sheet that you made, and we will add these from that, because these are outdated, so this should not be used anyways. So these are outdated, so the new one, and all this same field, which is here already, we can use. Here we can do refinancing. We don't need a button to change refinancing and whatnot. We probably don't need a land budget at all in this case, so we probably can hide that much portion, and we don't need we can actually don't even need to show all of this, so we can basically hide that anyways. But that I can do, that's not a problem. But we just want to make sure that this has a new calculation, and here we can use the after for refinancing numbers to show the borrowing capacity. Also on here, this will be printed exactly the way it is. But right now all I want is, apart from new integration, instead of this being in this being XLS file, I remember in the past we used to have some XML or some other format of Excel sheet format. So when you open it, it asks you to save, and when you save, it creates a new file. So you have to create a new file for that. So that way, because what he does is he basically uses this sheet, and if he calls a different client, he opens that sheet again, and it has old data, and he will feed on that data. So I want to make sure that when somebody save, it has to be saved in a different name. So it can be XML or something like that format, and then that should be what we are after. So these are all the changes that I wanted. Hopefully that makes sense. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm also going to, in this sheet, you don't need to you don't need to use sorry, not this one, sorry. Yeah, not this one. Yeah, this one. So in this, because we are not looking at, or No, who cares, probably. Let's add that anyways. I don't know. Yeah, let's if you're doing the project, might as well do it all. Now disregard these fields. Disregards these field, or also, and also, yeah, you don't have to add build rent free promo on that, or yeah, don't add this build rent free promo. So we don't need these fields to be seen. So I'll probably hide this for now just to send you. So all we need is this field onward. So here I have not added key start pack. I will add key start pack here. Key start pack is probably, yeah, I will just add that, so don't worry on that, and I will send it to you. So that's basically 4 things that I needed from you to start with, and I would have forgotten about few others because I was not ready for this video, but we'll work from that. Thanks man, you have a great day. Bye.